Hello students, welcome back to Venkat Golla tutorials. Let's now talk about transport of gases. The blood transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. Transport of oxygen in blood. The blood carries oxygen from lungs to heart and from heart to various parts of the body or all parts of the body. Transport of oxygen diffuses by two ways. Number one is as dissolved gas. Number two is as oxyhemoglobin. Number one is dissolved gas. 3% of oxygen is transported to the cells and tissues through the plasma of the blood in dissolved state. So another one is as oxyhemoglobin. About 97% of oxygen is carried in combination with hemoglobin. About 97% of oxygen is carried in combination with hemoglobin of RBC, red blood cells. Hemoglobin it is a respiratory pigment. Hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment. It consists of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin. Hem means iron. Hem means iron in the form of ferrous, wherein globin means protein. It means the heme portion contains 4 atoms of iron. 4 atoms of iron. That means this is a globin, pyrrole ring. Iron, oxygen. Iron, oxygen. So heme portion contains 4 atoms of iron now. 4 iron. Now each hemoglobin contains 4 iron molecules, 4 iron atoms, and the globin is a protein. So hemoglobin is a polypeptide protein consists of 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. That structure of this hemoglobin we'll discuss a little later. Now let's go with the continuation. Hemoglobin each iron ion capable to bind 4 atoms of each iron capable to bind 1 atom of one molecule of each iron is capable to bind 1 molecule of oxygen. So the 4 iron atoms bind 4 oxygen molecules. Hemoglobin plus oxygen gives rise to oxyhemoglobin. At lungs level, Hb plus O2 gives rise to HbO2 in the lungs level. In the case of tissue level, HbO2 is converted to hemoglobin and oxygen. So it is a reversible reaction. It's a reversible reaction. Reversible reaction. Under the very important point is under high partial pressure. High partial pressure of oxygen bind with hemoglobin. Under high partial pressure, oxygen bind with hemoglobin in lungs. That means in blood capillaries, or we can say pulmonary capillaries. So under high partial pressure, oxygen bind with hemoglobin in lungs. Exactly where it happens means pulmonary capillaries. Pulmonary capillaries. When this oxygenated blood reaches to tissues, when this oxygenated blood reaches to tissues, the partial pressure of oxygen, that means PO2, partial pressure of oxygen, decline, means reduce, and the bonds holding of oxygen to hemoglobin. So when partial pressure of oxygen decline and bonds holding of oxygen to hemoglobin becomes unstable. Got it? Unstable. As a result of oxygen release, as a result of oxygen release or dissociate from blood capillaries into the tissues, got it? Then this oxygen is utilized by cells and tissues in various metabolic activities such as oxidation, etc. Normally, the normal man, the hemoglobin is in males 15 grams per 100 ml of blood. So normally the hemoglobin percentage in males is 15 grams per 100 ml, where in the case of what in women, hemoglobin is 13 grams per 100 ml of blood. 13 ml of blood. The hemoglobin formula, or the formula of hemoglobin is C29 52 H46 64 N812 O832 S8 Fe4. The means carbon 2952, hydrogen 4664, nitrogen 812, oxygen 832, sulfur 8, iron 4. So this is the molecular formula or electrical formula of hemoglobin. So empirical formula of hemoglobin is, hemoglobin formula is 1 gram of hemoglobin, 1 gram of hemoglobin binds about 1.34 ml of oxygen. So 1 gram of hemoglobin carries or binds 1.34 ml of oxygen. Therefore 15 grams of hemoglobin binds approximately 20 ml of oxygen. That means 15 into 1.34 ml. Under the normal condition, under the normal conditions, normal conditions, 5 ml of oxygen transported to the tissues by 100 ml of blood. Means under the normal condition 5 ml of oxygen is transported to the tissues by 100 ml of blood. 100 ml of blood. During strenuous conditions or exercises, during exercise or strenuous conditions, so muscle cells consume more oxygen. So during exercise or strenuous condition, the muscle cells consume more oxygen. The partial pressure of oxygen in tissues falls. As a result, the blooded tissues level has only 4.4 ml of oxygen per 100 ml of blood. Thus about 15 ml of oxygen is transported by hemoglobin. So the partial pressure of oxygen in tissues falls. As a result, blooded tissues level has only 4.4 ml of oxygen per 100 ml of blood. Thus, about 15 ml of oxygen is transported by hemoglobin. So, the transport of oxygen is diffuses in two forms. Number one is as dissolved gas. Another one is called oxyhemoglobin. So dissolved state, the 3% of oxygen is transported to tissues, and 97% of oxygen is transported through the hemoglobin, with the help of RBCs. So thus the transportation of oxygen from lungs to heart and from heart to body parts. So this is about transport of oxygen from lungs to heart and heart to tissues. If you like this video, please share and subscribe it.